I want to start off, first off, by giving all praises, honor, and glory to Yahawah, Bahashem YAHAWASHI, Bahashem Rakakwadash. Yahawah is the true name of the God of the Bible, the God of this earth, the God of our forefathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. His name is Yahawah, which means he is to be, his existence, he's everything, right? YAHAWASHI is the name of his only begotten son, his beloved son, whom the world ignorantly called Jesus. YAHAWASHI is his name, which means he is deliverance, or he's salvation, or he delivers, right? Which is an epithet, to describe what he represents to the nation of Israel, right? Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, who taught me this truth, right, and who lead as examples of perseverance and endurance in this truth, right? Salutations also to the Akim, Tazadakim, who are pushing this word honestly, sincerely, working for that penny a day, right? And to the rest of the believers, the men, women, and children who make up the large multitude, who have the gift of faith, right? Shalom. This lesson is going to be pretty much continuing on a previous lesson that I did recently, going into how YAHAWASHI is the true light bringer, or Lucifer, just going into YAHAWASHI's role as the light of the world, right? Or the light of the, really and truly the light of the world of Israel, and Israel being, the light of the entire world, So we're going to start here in 2 Peter chapter 1, verse 19. We also have a more sure word of prophecy, whereunto ye do well, that ye take heed as unto a light that shineth in a dark place, right, until the day dawn and the day star arise in your heart, right? So there's two things I want to bring out here, which you're gonna elaborate on, throughout the course of this lesson, right? Reading it again, it says, we have also a more sure word of prophecy, whereunto ye do well that ye take heed, as unto a light that shineth in a dark place, right? So we are lights that shine in a dark place, right? Until what? Until the day dawn and the day star arise in your heart. Now, if you look up that word day star, it goes back to the Greek eosphoros or phosphorus, which means light bringer or light bearer, right? And if you go to the Latin, as I did, in that previous lesson, this is 2 Peter chapter 1, verse 19. It says, and we have a more firm prophetical word, whereunto ye do well to attend, as to a light that shineth in a dark place, until the day dawn and the day star arise in your heart. Now, if you take a look at the Latin above, it says, et Lucifer oriater in corbidus vestris, right? The word Lucifer there represents the day star, right? Showing you that YAHAWASHI is referred to as, Lucifer, meaning a day star or a light bringer, right? So throughout this lesson, we're going to go more into that, YAHAWASHI being, the light bearer. So this is Matthew chapter 4, and I'll start from verse 13, right? Don't let me in. All right. So it says, and start from verse 12. Now when YAHAWASHI had heard that John was cast into prison, he departed into Galilee, and leaving Nazareth, he came and dwelt in Capernaum, which is upon the sea coast, in the borders of Zebulun and Naphtali, that it might be fulfilled, which was spoken by Isaiah the prophet, saying, the land of Zebulun and the land of Naphtali, by the way of the sea beyond Jordan, Galilee of the Gentiles, the people which sat in darkness, Salakia, saw great light. And to them which sat in the region and shadow of death, light is sprung up. From that time YAHAWASHI began to preach and to say, repent, for the kingdom of heaven is at hand. Now the point I want to focus on is at verse 16, right? So it says, the people which sat in darkness saw a great light, right? Darkness represents the absence of knowledge and understanding and truth, right? And light represents wisdom, and that wisdom, that understanding, and that truth. YAHAWASHI is the embodiment of the knowledge and understanding of Yahawah, right? And he is the light that sprung up, right, in the region and shadow of death, right? So before Yahawashi came into the world, we were in darkness, right? But Yahawashi brought light, meaning he brought understanding, he brought wisdom, and he brought hope, right? He brought hope. This is John chapter 1 verse 4. It says, in him, right? Matter of fact, let me just start from verse 1. In the beginning was the Word, which is Yahawashi, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God, meaning the Word was a God, was a power, right? It doesn't mean that, the Word was the Heavenly Father himself. No, that's not what this is saying, even though it's very commonly misunderstood to mean that, right? The same was in the beginning with God, right? Yeah, because Yahawashi was in the beginning, when the earth was created. Everything was created by Yahawashi, as it goes on to say. All right, all things were made by him, and without him was not anything made that was made. In him was life, and the life was the light of men, right? And the light shineth in darkness, and the darkness comprehended it not. This is all speaking about Yahawashi, right? The darkness that comprehended it not were his own people that rejected him, the wicked scribes and Pharisees, that lobbied to get him crucified, all the people in the crowd that cheered and said, give us Barabbas instead. All those people represented the darkness that understood or comprehended not the light, which was Yahawashi and his doctrine and his gospel, right? There was a man sent from God whose name was John. The same came for a witness, to bear witness of the light, that all men through him might believe. He was not that light, but he was sent to bear witness of that light, right? So again, it's showing you that Yahawashi is what? The light. And if you notice here, it's a capital L, right? This was the true light, right? So Yahawashi was a true light bearer, right? Which lighteth every man that cometh into the world. He was in the world, and the world was made by him, right? And the world knew him not, right? So again, the scripture is explicitly, without any, misunderstandings to be had, that Yahawashi, is the true light. He is the true way for us to walk, Moving on, this is John chapter 8, verse 12, right? It says, then spake Yahawashi again unto them, saying, I am the light of the world, right? So even he, said it in clearer terms, He that followeth me shall not walk in darkness, but shall have the light of life. Because if you think about it, especially in this time, before the light came, unto us, which is that light started with John the Baptist again, in the 60s with Elder Abba Bivin, if you have the spirit to receive it, and that was passed on to other, great men, like King Marsha, Ella Yaikwab, Ella, and then to our apostles that we have today, Ella Pastor, Ella Pastor Gabar, Ella Apostle Rhymelab, Ella Pastor Raka, on down, to the elders in Connecticut, and on down to the leaders and elders that we have today, Before that came, before we witnessed that, we were in darkness. We were walking on, whether we were in Christianity, Muslims, Rastafarianism, whatever it is, or maybe we just weren't religious any at all, whatever it is that we were in, it was complete darkness. It was a lack of understanding of who we were as a people, our history, and the prophecies that pertain to us, that we have fulfilled and that we are about to fulfill, the name of our God, the name of Yahawashi, all these things we didn't know. So we were in darkness, right, until that light came. And it's the same thing if you go back to 2,000 years ago. Our people were in a dark place. We were under the foot of the Romans, pretty much in a glorified slavery state. Pretty much it's still slavery. We were paying tribute, to them, couldn't exercise a certain amount of autonomy over ourselves. The Pharisees and them were teaching based on the traditions of men, and not after the scriptures, for their own gain. All these different things were happening, and our people were waiting for the consolation of Israel. If you read through the New Testament, you'll realize that, there were a few righteous who were waiting, for that promise of the Messiah, right, to deliver them, right? So they were in darkness, waiting for that light, to come and redeem them and deliver them, right? So Yahawashi spake again unto them, saying, I am the light of the world. He that followeth me shall not walk in darkness, but shall have the light of life, right? So moving on to St. John chapter 3 and verse 18, right? It says, he that believeth on him is not condemned, but he that believeth not is condemned already, because he hath not believed in the name of the only begotten of Son of God. And this is the condemnation, that light is come into the world, and men love darkness rather than light, because their deeds were evil, right? So the light, again, is speaking about Yahawashi and the truth. The truth exposed, the wicked scribes and Pharisees for the things that they were doing, and for the incorrect doctrine that they were teaching, and it exposed them, but they hated that, right? Because what? It showed that their deeds were not wrath in God. For everyone that doeth evil hateth the light, neither cometh to the light, lest his deeds be reproved, right? But he that doeth truth cometh to the light, that his deeds may be manifest, that they are wrath in God, right? So it's like, if I go into the kitchen, late at night, and you flick on the light and you see a bunch of roaches just, scurry away out of the light, that's what these wicked niggas represented, just run out of the light. Or, if you're doing something that you ought not to do, and somebody, comes in on you in the room, or wherever you are, flicks on the light, you feel ashamed, you feel naked, you feel embarrassed, So Yahawashi, came and he shined light, on, the wicked deeds of men, and that made them, embarrassed, and exposed, and instead of humbling themselves and repenting and say, you know what, I'm doing this wrong thing, let me stop doing it and do that which is right, so that I can abide in the light. No, they hated that feeling, and if you really think about it, that's how most people are. When you expose them, for the wrong that they're doing, they immediately get defensive and angry and aggressive, and it's a defense mechanism, instead of accepting, and being, humbled, and penitent, Instead, they want to defend themselves, and that goes back to pride. That goes back to pride. When you correct somebody that's proud, right? They won't want to be in a vulnerable state, right? Because being penitent and being contrite is a vulnerable state. It leaves you open, to pain, and they don't want that. Most Jake just wants to feel invincible, right? Let's move on. This is St. John chapter 12. I'll start from verse 35. All right, it says, Then said Yahawashi unto them, Yet a little while is the light with you, speaking of himself. Walk while ye have the light, lest darkness come upon you. For he that walketh in darkness knoweth not whithersoever he goeth. Right? It says, while ye have the light, believe in the light, that ye may be children of light. So what Yahawashi is going into here is that, those who follow him, who believe in him being the light, will also themselves become the children of light, and so they will have light as well, right? So now, as we'll get into, we who believe in Yahawashi, right, who have taken hold of that light and have faith in that light, we ourselves now have become light, right? A part of that greater light, an extension of that greater light, that true light, which is Yahawashi, but lesser lights in our own right, shining forth, that light, right? And if we go, with proof for that we have is right here, Matthew chapter 5 verse 14. Yahawashi speaking again. He's speaking to his disciples. He says, "You are the light of the world. A city that is set on a hill cannot be hid." Right? So you have to understand, if at first Yahawashi said, what? I am the light of the world, right? But now he's saying to his disciples, you are the light of the world. Why? Because he came and he gave that light to those who had faith in him, those who walked within his light. They also became children of light, as he said, right? So we know have become children of light ourselves. We know have become lesser luminaries, you know, to YAHAWASHI, if you want to call it that, or lesser Lucifers to YAHAWASHI, you know. So we are light bringers as well. So when we go out into the highways and the byways, we represent light in a dark place, you know, among Jake, you know, out there among Jake, that's darkness. When we go out there, you know, into that darkness, we represent that light, right? That we represent the light of YAHAWASHI, right? So it says, neither do men light a candle and put it under a bushel, but on a candlestick, and it giveth light to all them that are in the house. Let your light so shine before men, that they might see your good works and glorify your Father which is in heaven. Right? So we are the light of the world, you know, we being the prophets, and then by extension, you know, the whole nation of Israel, you know, in the kingdom, yeah, right, as it was meant to be, will be, you know, the light of the world, right? Because the rest of the world will look to Israel and say Israel is the shining example of what a nation should be, right? This is Isaiah 60 verse 1, arise, shine, for thy light is come, and the glory of the Lord is risen upon thee. For behold, the darkness shall cover the earth, and gross darkness the people, but the Lord shall arise upon thee, and his glory shall be upon thee. Right? Speaking about, again, YAHAWASHI, right? And the Gentiles shall come to thy light. Right? So when we are glorified, when we all as a nation, as a people, become children of light, being lit up by YAHAWASHI, that's in the kingdom, you know, it's starting now, right now, because, you know, the prophets are out, you know, shining that light onto the rest of Israel, the rest of the elect of Israel. But in the kingdom, the entire nation will be children of light. We will all be an embodiment of the light of YAHAWASHI. And it says what? And Gentiles shall come to thy light. So we will be the light of the world, right? And the kings to the brightness of thy rising. Right, lift up thine eyes round about and see all they gather themselves. They come to thee, thy sons come from far, and thy daughters shall be nursed at thy side. Right, we're gonna get one more to wrap. This is I believe it's Deuteronomy chapter 4, I believe it's verse 5. It says, behold, I have taught you statutes, even as the Lord my God commanded me, that ye do so in the land whither you go to possess it. Keep therefore and do them, for this is your wisdom in the sight of the nations, which shall hear these statutes and say, surely this nation is a wise and understanding people. Right? So in the kingdom, the laws, statutes, and judgments will be written in our hearts. It will be a part of who we are, and we will naturally do the laws. That's a part of the promise, right? Jeremiah 31 speaks about it. Hebrews chapter 8 speaks about it. Ezekiel 36 speaks about it. You know, the law being written in our inward parts, right? So when we do when we keep the laws to the best of well, not to the best of our ability, when we're gonna keep the laws 100% in the kingdom, it's gonna be light unto the Gentiles. It's gonna be our wisdom and our understanding in the light of in the sight of the nation, showing you that wisdom and understanding represents, you know, light. It says, for what nation is there so great, who hath God so nigh to them, as the Lord our God is in all things that we call upon them for? And what nation is there so great, that has statutes and judgments so righteous as all this law which I set before thee this day? You know, so, you know, just recapping the lesson, YAHAWASHI, you know, is the ultimate light, the true light. You know, he lights the elect. You know, the elect become, you know, lesser lights, but lights nonetheless. And then in the kingdom, the entire nation of Israel, you know, will become the light of the world. Right? So hopefully this lesson was edifying. Till next time, shalom.